Does a deep sci-fi RPG with actual important player choices, romanceable companions, time dilation that ages your homeworld between missions, sci-fi action combat, and alien races that literally descend from humanity sound like something you would play? Well, that's what Exodus is shaping up to be, and with a good sci-fi RPG to sink your teeth into missing from the market, it's exciting times ahead. As massive sci-fi fans, when Wizards of the Coast reached out to sponsor a video to check out the latest on Exodus, I knew it was time to jump back in and give you guys a new rundown on their latest reveal. Plus, you can wishlist the game down below if you like the look of it. The thing is, Exodus has already established a very deep universe from its novels and an entire tabletop RPG, so there's a lot of potential to tap into here. Let's jump in and talk about what Exodus actually is, how it plays, the wild time dilation system, the characters, companions, alien races, and more of what might make up the most ambitious sci-fi RPG we've seen. So you might be wondering, what is Exodus? Well, it's a massive sci-fi RPG set in a distant future where Earth has collapsed under environmental disasters and resource wars that has forced humanity to flee the planet, boarding gigantic ark ships. These arcs were launched centuries apart, which becomes extremely important because of time dilation. This means that earlier ships reached the Centauri cluster thousands of years before the other ones. They settled entire worlds, built civilizations, and evolved into beings that are now known as Celestials. Well, we're going to be playing as Jun Aslan, a traveler and part of an elite group sent out on one of these near light speed missions. Jun is the child of the legendary Orion Aslan and a celestial ally, which means he has abilities that no other human has. It also puts him right in the middle of a conflict between the humans just arriving from Earth and the Celestials, who now see these newcomers as simple primitives. Celestials are, however, a complex race. There's different factions and types of them, so some might help you while others may just attack you on sight. Now, in this new system, humanity's new homeworld in the cluster is unfortunately failing because its terraforming tech is literally rotting apart. Your people are getting desperate, the resources are scarce, and so every Exodus mission that you take becomes a bit of a gamble between saving lives and shaping the long-term future of the whole civilization. You see, as you travel out at near light speeds, days will pass for you, but years, decades, or centuries will pass for everyone else. This means when you return from an important mission, the city may have risen or collapsed, political factions may have gained power, and your actions have concrete knock-on effects that you get to see play out. Plus, people you cared about and left behind will have aged dramatically. And there was a new trailer that recently released, focusing heavily on Jun, the main character. At the beginning of the game, you start out as a lowly salvager on a struggling homeworld that is literally rotting. Well, that rot affects the terraforming equipment that's keeping the planet alive, and to be honest, the whole thing is just collapsing. Now, because of Jun's unique birth, you eventually embrace your special powers that actually give you access to celestial tech that normal humans cannot use. So the story is kind of a rags to riches setup. You start at the bottom, scraping by, and across the story, you rise to becoming the leader of your people and the planet. The interesting part is that while the trailer shows a male version of Jun, the devs have confirmed that it's actually fully customizable with a character creator, so you can create your own version, including a female Jun if you want to. The devs have also said that they want you to feel like a co-writer of the story as you play. So as you explore, you'll be making difficult moral decisions, and the game embraces a play-it-your-way type of philosophy. So you can go guns blazing, kicking down doors and shooting enemies up, or go full-on stealth to outsmart your enemies and more. With multiple companion choices, you'll be building a team around how you like to play. You can create synergies between your party's abilities and find a playstyle that ultimately works for you. Now, at the heart of Exodus is, of course, the time dilation mechanics that we've spoke on, and honestly, it's one of the coolest mechanics I've seen implemented in a sci-fi RPG. When you go out on missions, you're traveling at that near light speed, so everything for you is much slower than everything for everyone else. So back home, decades and even generations will pass, and the devs specifically stated that there's no teleportation or wormholes. They want real physics to come into play, adding a hard science fiction feel to the game. So when you return from a mission, characters will have aged and the city will change, and your relationships with anyone you left behind will also have changed too. The devs pointed out that no other game really lets you make choices and then experience the consequences of those choices decades or centuries in the future of the game. So they aim to honor the real science of relativity while still making it fun and giving you some amazing gameplay consequences to actually play out. The companions are also a huge part of Exodus, and if you enjoy the classic BioWare style of companion arcs with romance options, different crew dynamics and so on, then it's good to know this game is going big on that too. You won't be able to make everyone happy, and the devs were very open about that. Your choices will offend some members of your party and strengthen your bond with others. And we've seen two of the early companions so far, Tom and Elise. Both of these have deep personal histories and both evolve based on the choices you make and the missions that you do with them or don't do with them. But the standout one so far has got to be Salt the Awakened Octopus. Yes, this is a fully functioning companion character, and he actually specializes in stealth gameplay. Plus, he's a bit of a comic relief character with dry humor and some good one-liners. The devs spoke very fondly of Salt, so I'm sure it's a very fleshed out and unique companion character. On top of that, Matthew McConaughey is actually voicing his first ever game character in this, CC Orlev. He plays a mysterious figure who acts as the voice of the people on your home world. Jun doesn't know much about him at first, but he becomes extremely important as the game progresses. Now let's talk about some of the aliens and races, because there's some very interesting ones in the universe of this game. The Celestials originate as humanity's first arrivals in the Centauri cluster. They evolved over thousands of years into a powerful and unprecedented civilization with factions like the war-driven Crown Celestials. Some of these see the now arriving humans as simple primitives, while others see humans as tools, and others just want to wipe them out completely. Then you have changelings, which are bioengineered life forms created by the Celestials. They range from workers to soldiers to living weapons, and it really shows just how far the Celestials are advanced compared to humans. You also have the Ovar, which are massive beetle-like changelings built as living carriers and protectors. Then you have the Malabrached, an elegant envoy changeling. They're a bit sneaky because they offer prosperity, but they tend to reshape things in their own hidden agendas. And the Rexana are built as laborers for the Celestials and can be repurposed into lethal soldiers when needed. On top of that, you have awakened animals that are uplifted species with intelligence equal to humans, like Salt the Octopus that we've mentioned. But there's also a roster beyond that, including ravens and even bears. Now let's touch on Jun, because he has these special powers called neural induction. This means he can manipulate a special material that lets you interface with celestial tech that simply doesn't work for other humans. At the start of the story, this ability is treated a bit like a problem, but as you progress, you embrace it and learn a bunch of new abilities, gain access to gadgets and so on that really do set you apart. Progression is also built around a constellation-style skill tree, and on top of that, you can upgrade your weapons, abilities, your companions, and even your combat suits. So the whole system goes pretty deep, and everything is built around synergy. You're meant to build your team with different abilities that complement each other and your playstyle. Now for me personally, Exodus is exactly the type of game that I've been waiting for in the sci-fi genre. It has such a good setup, a lot of lore to tap into, and everything they're aiming for sounds like it's up my street. The consequences of your choices playing out in front of you between missions sounds really intriguing, and honestly I can't wait to actually just play the game. There hasn't really been a big premium sci-fi RPG like this in a long time, so I'm very excited to see how it goes. The combination of veteran RPG developers, a proper original world, and just the concept of the game in general and its companion system really does sound like a good mix. So I'll be keeping a close eye on this one, and if you want to learn more, there is a link down below where you can wishlist the game now. But what do you guys think? Does this look like the sci-fi RPG you've been waiting for? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more videos on your favorite games coming very, very soon. Here at Arix Gaming, we're two friends who love to play games. You have me, Paradise, as well as 26.
Our goal is to keep the videos as concise as possible by cutting out any of the fluff and focusing on what really matters with high quality videos.
So make sure you're subscribed down below for more videos on your favorite games coming very, very soon.